Rostermania is in full effect right now, and it's all going down on the Twitter timeline. So let's go over it all from confirmed to rumored things that are happening with a bunch of different teams. Actually, a lot more teams than I thought. And we're starting off with this one because this is official. From the Toronto Ultra, Beans actually himself announced he is a free agent going into EWC. A lot of people thought Ultra should make a change. I think a lot of people thought it should be Insight. But it's actually Beans who is on the way out from this team. Now, I mean, maybe someone else will also be on the way out. Who really knows? We'll have to wait and see. But as of right now, Beans being a free agent definitely adds a little bit more to the roster mania because Beans is a high caliber player, right? He is one of those players that has A tier potential, somebody who can have a real impact on a team, and especially given the ARs feel like they are a bit more lackluster than SMGs this season. Beans being available definitely makes it pretty interesting. We also got this tweet here from Vinny Gage, who, if you don't know, is Zuma's cousin. Take this one with a grain of salt because from what I've seen, he's kind of like hit or miss. Like sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong. But he said, expect some teams that have won an event this year to make changes going into EWC, which I mean is a pretty bold thing to tweet, right? Because when you look at the CDL, there's only 3 teams that have won an event, right? Atlanta FaZe, LA Thieves, and Optic Texas. And I would very much assume, even though this comment here is Optic Simp, which a lot of people have been talking about, I'd very much assume Optic doesn't make a change heading into EWC. Now, I mean, if they decide to make a change after that, I still doubt they will, but you never really know. This to me leaves LAT and FaZe obviously as ones to make a change, but I do think there could be a little workaround in here that this could be talking about challengers, right? You could be talking about potentially some of the omit teams maybe making changes, right? Because teams that have won an event this year, if you look at challengers, obviously some omit teams won an event, Notorious won an event. So that could be interesting. And we're actually going to talk a bit more about some Notorious players that could be on the move here, and some omit players that could be on the move. But also here, officially from Cloud9, Capital has been released from the organization, and we're going to talk about who his rumored replacement is. But Capital didn't really have much of a great showing on C9. I mean, that team was kind of a mess from the get-go. They never really performed from the beginning. They drop Mac, they drop Attach, they bring in Capsule, they bring in Spar. It's kind of been a mess, and the team never really performed. But he is officially gone and a free agent. But his potential replacement, not officially from the team, but from Ronnie Intel, who we all know is one of the most credible leakers we have, is that Gwyn apparently is going to be heading over there to replace him, or at least it looks like he's going to be heading over there to replace him, which frees up another spot over on the Carolina Royal Ravens, which we're going to touch on. So the domino effect is sort of continuing to happen. And I guarantee you there's going to be more of, there's definitely going to be more of this that happens over the next couple of days for who's going where and what teams make changes. So make sure you sub and turn noties on because I'll make these quick and to the point videos to get through all the roster news. But Gwyn to C9, getting him off of Ravens, I think makes sense. I think he was going to leave probably either way. So that's maybe why Ravens are willing to let him go. And going to C9, team up with Kremp and Sib and Spar, if that ends up being the roster, definitely makes them better. Does it make them a contender for EWC? Probably not, but does make them better. But then we look at the Ravens, right? The Ravens are apparently facing a European revolution, as Ronnie calls it. And if we click on this article, he actually goes in to talk about here that obviously Gwyn is expected to go to C9 New York, and sources are suggesting that Dylan Rex is going to be being replaced by Cobra, which was actually something that dropped yesterday. And then the future of TJ Haley also remains uncertain. And it goes on down here to say that Slasher is anticipated to be the only player remaining on the roster. And some of their top options that they're looking at here is Afro to come in and replace Gwyn, as well as Cobra coming in to replace Dylan Rex. So, and also if they obviously get rid of Tej, that frees up another spot. So looking like they're almost trying to build like some sort of European-esque team, which is pretty interesting, especially considering Afro from Team Notorious did not make EWC. Cobra also did not make EWC. So these guys wouldn't, I guess, be hard probably to get off their teams. Would be hard to get out of maybe the contracts they have in Challengers. Definitely some big moves being done here from the Ravens. Then we got another tweet here from Vinny Gage, who said, expect massive changes from every Challengers team that has made EWC. Also expect Mamba to Toronto announcement shortly. This was right after the Beans news came out. So according to Vinny, Mamba to Toronto looks like the replacement, which if this is true, one, I think this is a pretty good move. I mean, you could probably say Beans is better than Mamba because Bean's been in the league for a minute. We know what he's capable of, but Mamba has been cooking in challengers, and he's someone I absolutely think deserves a shot. And yesterday, as you can see from this comment, the rumor from Vinny was Mamba to Rocker. So things seem to be changing pretty rapidly. But again, I'm not 100% sure about Vinny's credibility on some of these things. If it's not from Ronnie, it's not from Jacob Hale. I kind of give it the grain of salt. And then Ben J. Nassim comes out here and says that he would say 5 to 6 teams are likely making changes for EWC, and there could be 3 to 5 more, but they could also stick out and wait till after the event. This is pretty insane. I mean, if you think 5 to 6 teams and then 3 to 5 more, I mean, that is basically the entire league, right? I mean, 6 plus 5, if we take the highest end of his spectrums he gave us here, is 11. And the only team that wouldn't be making changes, one of them, is it Optic because they won champs? Is it LAT? Is it FaZe? I mean, I really don't know, but a lot of teams potentially making changes. And obviously, this could change. As he says, things are always in flux. This is pretty crazy because if you try to break it down, right? Like if I try to actually think about who wouldn't make a change, at least who you wouldn't think would make a change. I'm going Optic, right? Because they just won champs. I'm going to say Surge because they just got second. And they definitely feel like they got to be on the cusp of being capable to win events. Boston Breach could be another one that just had their best placement. They've been a team that have kind of, been known for having the team chemistry and really believing in each other to make these runs that they have at some events. So that could be 3. LA Thieves and FaZe could be 4 and 5. I'm going to be honest. I kind of feel like there's a FaZe change coming. I thought it would wait till after EWC, but maybe it's coming beforehand. LAT, I think definitely don't change before EWC. I think one bad placement on the year, of course it was at champs, but the one bad placement pretty much on the year is kind of like, I feel like you go to EWC and you don't chalk the entire season and the entire practice you had rather than dropping somebody and then trying to bring someone back into this or new into the system to learn 2 weeks before or 3 weeks before EWC. But those, I mean, right there are 5 teams, right? That could be not making changes. So, and some of those could be making changes. So I don't really know. It's going to be very interesting. And Ben also goes on to say that roster lock apparently is July 3rd. There were rumors that it was yesterday, but apparently it's July 3rd. And there's even wiggle room if EWC approves changes, I guess, for things that potentially happen after that. So we're going to be seeing more news and more rumors coming out over the next few days, definitely up until July 3rd. And obviously right after that is when we'll probably get official announcements from teams about, who they signed, who they dropped, things like that, if they didn't come out already. And also real quick, just wanted to thank 1v1me's for sponsoring this video. If you guys haven't checked it out, definitely click the link down below. It's the best place to watch and stake esports all day. The 2v2 Black Ops 6 League is a lot of fun. So definitely click the link down below. Use code ATC for a $10 stake. And let me know what you think about the app. We got this tweet here from Atlanta FaZe. I feel like this is probably the just getting in on the engagement bait. Like every team, every player tries to just put something out when the timeline's hot, right? Because you get impressions. And, impressions give you some money here on Twitter if you're verified, right? So this might just be something like this. I very, very much doubt Atlanta FaZe would be like engagement baiting of they're dropping one of their players, especially, if they're dropping one of the trio, right? So that would be pretty crazy. This kind of, to me, makes me feel like they're not going to change before EWC, but a lot of people seem to think they are. We also got this tweet here from Nasty. This one I just thought was interesting because this could be engagement bait. Some people are reading a little bit into it. He says Rostermania is always entertaining, and Dan Ghosty says, I'm sure it is, buddy, ... So, some people are thinking, oh, is Dan Ghosty, is he getting dropped off his team? Is he engagement farming? Is he going to mid? Is he going to Minnesota Rock? Or he's going to Challengers? I hope this is engagement farming, bro. If Dan Ghosty gets dropped off LAT, I'm going to be very sad. And I also wanted to touch on this, not exactly Rostermania related, but pretty interesting. Jacob Hale says CDL 2026 event/location schedule is starting to shape up real nice if things go to plan. And this is something that I think is very interesting because there's been some rumors about, potentially Kayson's trying to get an MLG Anaheim type event to come back and some other locations that could be really fun that people want to see. And him tweeting this out is also, I think, further proof to me that something is happening behind the scenes that's going to be pretty good for these events because I talked to someone at Major 4 at DreamHack. I'm not going to name names, but trust me when I say I definitely believe this person has good info. They told me that what it looks like the potential events and locations for next season is really, really good. So they told me that. I guess I could say he, but there's a lot of he's right in the CDL. He told me that. And, just a month and a half later, give or take, Jacob Hale's tweeting this out. So stay tuned, I guess. CDL 2026 events might be lit. But I don't know, man. Rostermania looks like it is going to be pretty insane. At least it's shaping out to be that way. So make sure you sub, turn noties on so you can stay up to date with all the changes that are coming. And hopefully I'll see you all in the next one.